They were 5 days old, and I had yet to see what my daughter looked like because her face was covered. She had goggles on and she had wires, and she was tiny to begin with. She wasn't even 2 pounds, and I couldn't see her face. The nurse walked up to me and said, "Have you seen your daughter's face?" And I said, "No, I haven't." And she said, "Well, why don't you come over, because I'm gonna change out her bandages and I want you to see her." And so I walked over and they took everything off. And I just remember thinking, she's the most beautiful girl I've ever seen. And she was so small. And she kind of looked like a hairy squirrel. But to me, she was the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen.
Leaving the hospital without him when I was discharged was the worst day of my life. So he was born, and 2 days later I left, and I had to leave him there.
I remember I physically was extremely weak, and I physically could barely stand up. And when I saw them, I did not think they would live. I remember just hoping I could just see them for a little while. That's the first thing I remember.
As a mom of a preemie, it just every day is, you don't know what you're gonna get. So when you walk in that morning, you don't know if they're gonna tell you, oh, you know, the baby was having a lot of apneas, he needs a blood transfusion.
The NICU is a crazy place. It's, on one hand, a very safe place because you feel so confident that you're in the best hands with the best possible care. In 1 hour, everything's great, and you walk down to the cafeteria to get a bite to eat, and then your cell phone is ringing, and it's the NICU, and you have to come up immediately because one of your children is in distress.
At first, you're doing what you're doing because you have to do it. Brayden was in the hospital for 6 months, so we had a long time to sit there and think about what was going on. So I'd have to say, at first we were fine, but then as it dragged on, it was kind of just taking a toll on the both of us.
The first thing I remember vividly, that image that comes to my mind, is when he was born. They took him to the NICU, and my husband said, "What do I do? Do I stay with you, or do you want me to go with him?" And I said, "Go with him." And so then it was just me, not really knowing anything.
Just, you want to get him home, and you can't. But yeah, you have all these nurses taking care of your baby when you can, and it's just like you're a mom, and that's what you're supposed to do, and you can't do what you're supposed to be doing.
So the Tiny Miracles Foundation was founded by Gwen Noto and Meredith Daniels. And they founded the organization because they felt there needed to be a formal program of parents supporting parents, because they had gotten through their NICU experience by the support they had received. But the real person who really started the idea of the Tiny Miracles Foundation and really talked about the idea of formal programming for parents of premature babies was Dr. Rich Vizcarello.
He was sort of one of the key elements that kind of connected so many of us in the beginning of the forming of Tiny Miracles. So many of the babies who were born had been his patients. The mothers had been his patients. And so one of the binding connections was Stanford Hospital and Dr. Vizcarello.
Tiny Miracles filled a spot that no one was taking care of. The support of a family with a preterm baby or baby in the NICU because of some medical condition. They had the pediatricians and the neonatologists and the nurses care, but nobody took care of the family and the needs of the family outside of the hospital, both emotional and sometimes material.
Tiny Miracles is coming in and taking care of the parents who are trying to take care of these most fragile babies.
What Tiny Miracles does, it provides the most unique gift to the most vulnerable people, and that is a gift of hope. And that is what it's all about.
Tiny Miracles' ability to work with families throughout an infant's stay from the perspective of having been there is different. It complements the care, and it's incredibly valuable.
What we do know from research now is that families that get peer-to-peer support from people who've been through their journey, who've been in the NICU before, who've had a loss, families that receive that support do much better over the long run. So if we can do something that changes the trajectory of their emotional well-being here and now, it's going to change it for life.
The mentors visit the hospitals on a weekly basis on a 2-week rotation. And we visit the families who are the moms who are on bed rest or in the NICU after they've had their preemies. And we're basically there just to let them know that we've been through their journey, we understand and we get it, and allow them to share with us their fears and their concerns.
Tiny Miracles provides the non-medical support, a shoulder to cry on or a soul to share a laugh with.
We first found out here about Tiny Miracles. I couldn't believe it. Like, wow, they're here to help out families that are preemies and stuff like that.
We are keeping parents with a roof over their head while they go through this process. We are keeping parents mentally healthy in many ways where they wouldn't necessarily be. We are decreasing the post-traumatic stress syndrome of many, many, many parents in our community.
There's so much that Tiny Miracles offers, and that some of our families wouldn't make it through without the financial support or without the discharge packets and some of the tangibles that are given to them. But the care and compassion, sometimes just sitting there with an unspoken word, but knowing that somebody who's been through it before is with you and they've come out the other side, that offers a hope for a future that in your darkest hour you can't imagine by yourself.
I knew that we were up for a fight, right? And it was going to be a fight and it was going to be a battle, but I just looked in her face and I just said, you have to do this. Like, we have to do this. And we just have to all find courage. You're going to have courage and I'm going to have courage and we're all going to have courage and we're going to get through this.
So Dante is 9 months. He's doing great. He's crawling everywhere, and my kids just absolutely adore him, and he makes my family complete. And when I look at him, every time I look at him, I know that, miracles really do happen.
I'm a miracle! I'm a miracle. I'm a miracle. I'm a miracle. I'm a miracle. I am a miracle. I'm a miracle. I'm a miracle. I am a miracle. I'm a miracle.